Thursday morning, had a good day yesterday. Just been to Heathrow and back. Got an hour before I go to work, so just going to start and secure some buds on the giants. Hopefully we can find 50 out of that lot, and then off to work. But yeah, everything's now tied up, down to numbers, or within one of numbers. Went through yesterday and debudded the poms, as you can see down there. Run out of room in the neighbour's compost bin. I'll squeeze them in later. So let's just get the buds taken, and this will end this video. Just hope in a week's time we start finding buds. Certainly on those I need. I will on Oakwood, I think. I was quite pleased to find enough breaks, let alone ones with buds, but we're there. These hopefully will beef up a bit now that they're down to numbers. Not sure about those two plants, but I think the rest of them aren't going to be that far off. So we'll soon find out. See you next time. Tuesday the 1st of August. I've just sprayed just to get one job done that I don't have to do tomorrow. Tomorrow's the first bud taking day for me, so that'll be buds looking on the giants that have already been done. Buds for August bank holiday weekend. The odd ones that I have produced, and it is literally the odd ones, buds before I've knocked back to a shoot. But most of these, if you go digging, and I tend to, do have a bud sitting in them, so most, hopefully enough, and I'll explain that tomorrow. But again, there's buds in there, and that'll probably be the largest that I'd take down to going digging inside there for something like that. I don't like wasting flowers before a show. After tomorrow and that takes, I'll probably want somewhere around about 80 buds out of this bed. Hopefully this bed looks like it's catching up. We'll follow on for the third and fourth take. The giants, I'd knocked back anything that was big, although there's one or two bigger buds still there that I have secured, but they weren't that big on Friday. I should just pretty much now go through and just secure them as they show. I won't be knocking any back unless they all come. You'll see some of these. This is Oakwood Goldcrest. There's no way I'm going to secure that bud tomorrow. I will look for what we might call natural buds, which might be ones like that just in there. If I can't get enough of those, then I shall knock these stems down to a bud. If I have got enough, then I'll knock those down for a bud in 5 to 10 days time. This one I might struggle for, which is Rycroft Jill. You got the odd freak one there, which is a large one. They're in there, but might have to go gold mining to find, I think, about 120 buds from that lot. The mirrors will be easy, there'll be plenty. Again, ones like that I won't take. Ones like that I probably will. And the same for bright and softer gleams. There's no point knocking back. That would have been a small bud a few days ago. Didn't really know whether I'm going to get enough naturals, and it looks like I will do, so those bigger buds will be knocked back tomorrow. These still need a tie, as do the Scamsdale Jane, which are much in the same position. They get the second tie, the rest have been done, so hopefully by the end of tomorrow I'll have secured all my buds. I might not start going through the poms until a little bit later in the week, but I would have secured all the buds, got the second ties on, and knocked back anything that's a bit big, and then we're into bud taking season for basically the next 20 days. And hopefully by the end of 20 days there won't be any buds left to take. They're all going to flower in that sort of 2.5 to 3 week window. We shall see. Wednesday the 2nd of August. I've just done some videoing to be a separate section to this general run through. Hopefully you've seen it, just on timing. So today I'm starting to secure buds briefly because it's covered on the other. I have my list of things I'm looking for. I've just already secured 90 Winholm Diane and 70 buds of Oakwood Goldcrest, and then knocked any back. So this bed of Goldcrest has tips, but in amongst them there's about 35 buds secured in that bed, and in the bed down there of them is the rest. There's 90 out of this lot, and again I've knocked back anything that was a bit bigger, and you can see the dinks there, and I just got to work through the rest today. It's the main bud take. I'm really hoping these carry on motoring, which they seem to be now, because I want one more take out of that lot and then 2 takes out of this. So that'll be effectively Essex, maybe Midlands, Hyde Hall. This will be Kent National into Surrey. Giants I shall go through and just secure them as they go. You can see the buds I took last Friday are getting big. They'll soon do motor to a stage. That's the rest of the Goldcrest that I've secured. So I've secured, that's probably the biggest bud I've done, down to that, and knock the rest back. And then I'm going through the miniatures. So Jill, I'm going to be looking for 130 buds out of 35 plants that are probably about 18 to 20 up. 130 out of the Mary's Germander, which are 16-ish up. I'm not that strict with it. I do feed them and they're pretty strong. So again, it's 36 to get 130 out of. Then the softer gleams, I'm looking at my list, 70. And the Skelmersdale Jane, looking for 90. Again, 36 plants. The Poms I shall go through probably Thursday, Friday. You saw me pinching them back last time, and these little buds in here, ones like that I probably won't secure, but I might go for the one on the side or even further down. It's be the last chance of giving them a tweak, and then I'll just let them come through a flush. So that's what we're doing today. The forecast is terrible. I've already had the brolly up, wedged under the timber work so I can carry on without getting too wet. But we've got to get this done today, and time is flying. See you later. So this is just going to be about timing. It's the 2nd of August. For me, this is the closest Wednesday to the 1st, and it's about 24 days before the Essex show on the bank holiday Sunday, the 26th. I may well go to the Midlands, don't know. That's the day before. That gives me a bit of float, and obviously we're cutting the flowers the day before that, so we're really about, if you're looking at Midlands, 23 days to cutting. So now's the time, and this is the time we start. I'll show you the sheet next, and that's what I do to use to spread the sheet. We'll be using the knockback method on it as well. That's not my method, that's probably, I think, accredited to Dave Spencer many years ago, to adjust and tweak the timing of the buds. It's something that's used at a later stage. I hear people say, you know, I'll grow these on the knockback, and they're doing it 3 weeks ago. Well, that's actually, to my mind, that's putting another stop in. If you're treating each break as individuals in the latter season, that's knocking back, if you're cutting them all back at the same time, that's just a second, third stop. These plants were planted May to end of May. They were stopped for the first time at the end of the first week of June, and then chopped back, as you've seen in the videos, quite hard. And I'll try and put some pictures up either after this or before this. On the first week of July, and this is what we've now got. This is Winholm dying. They've been taken down to 7 breaks, so we're growing this 7 up. Hopefully that helps the terminology. And a plant like this has come absolutely perfect. In fact, they all have on this bed. Those ones I've time to produce buds later. And we're looking at this plant, and we've got what I would call natural buds. So this is what I would say is a pea-sized bud. It's just in the foliage. Anything between that and that at a push is what I'll be looking to take. It's a terminal bud in that stem, and it's there at the right time, at the right stage. So to me, that is a natural bud, a natural take. It hasn't been knocked back, nothing else has changed. That would be too big and far too early to take, so that will end up being knocked back. So this is my timing sheet or timing record. You can do it on the back of a fag packet if you like. I'll just do it on a spreadsheet because I'm at the computer, and I can add them on if this gets wet and messed up. But basically, let's pick Winholm dying, so we use that as an example today. So as you can see, Winholm dying, there's 52 plants. I'm growing them 7 up. That gives me 364 flowers. And then over that period, or over the show period, I'm using 4 bud takes. So for me, Essex would be today, 2nd of August, and I'm looking for 90 buds. In that box I'd put how many I actually got, and that will change the difference, but that's just me playing around. So I've recorded what I get. If I get to 90, then I won't just keep taking them if they're there. I'll start making other decisions, whether to knock them back, leave them, knock them back next time, and we'll show you that process in a moment. Then on the 7th of August, 5 days later, I want another 90. And then again on the 12th of August, another 90. And then on the 16th of August, another 90. So it's 4 takes, and they're 5 days apart between the 2nd and 16th of August. So that should give us really about 2.5 weeks worth of flowering. It shouldn't be much. If anything, before Essex it might be a bit tight, based on the average 25 days from a pea-sized bud. Again, we'll look at that, going through to full flower on a small to medium. Miniatures are probably nearer 23 days, depending on weather. Poms 20 days, giants nearly probably 30 days, particularly the varieties, the Aggie, Louis and Bryn that I'm growing are normally a good 30 days. So those have already been taken, and as you can see, Friday last week, well, I haven't put it as a different date, but this was Friday, I took 16 Aggie White. I was looking for 35. I had 21 Louis White and 11 Bryn. I try and allow a bit of float in there, so these numbers don't quite add up to the full total blooms, because you'd always knock a stem off, knock a bud off, have a plant that doesn't perform, dies, is not healthy, so there's a little bit of spare in there. So this is a difference. I know I've now got 19 spare Aggie White to take in the next 2 takes. Probably want to ease off on Louis at some point, and Bryn I've got 4 spare. So it's just keeping a record and a count. You must count as you take them, because otherwise you get carried away and realise that you think, great, I've taken 150 buds today. Well, somewhere down the line you're not going to find the buds you want because you've already secured them. So keeping a record of it, keeping a count of it, and making a plan is very key to timing flowers for shows. I don't know which flower I'm going to use. All I'm trying to do is make sure that there is 364 flowers spread out over a 2.5 to 3 week period. You can, and in some cases I have increased the numbers, things like AC Casper. I've only got 10 plants. I only really run it for the national, and I feel the national buds are somewhere between the 7th and 12th of August. So I've only put down none for this take, 20 and 20. There's only going to be 40 anyway, so if I can spread them over these 2 takes, I should have flowers around the national time. So you can use it to spread your flush throughout the season, and you can also use it to concentrate a flush for a particular show. But the sheet is key. As predicted, today it's absolutely going to be a wet one, so I'm underneath and fishing brolly. Luckily it spikes into the ground, and hopefully I can get through the day without getting too cold and wet. I'm moving this along as I work along the plants. So taking this, and we'll use this one as a typical bud, so it's probably a touch on the large side for me, but at least you'll be able to see it. Securing a bud, it's all terms that you'll hear, see, and probably use. This little leaf here often comes on a dying, and it sits just under the bud. I do tend to remove them, and I remove them with my thumb and forefinger. If you leave them, quite often that's the leaf that will hook the bud over. If you do it too rough, you'll damage the stem and it'll still hook over. So securing this is just the fact of removing the side shoots and side buds. So that one's gone. Now, in a very specific method, you might say flower it on the wing bud, because that is a pea-sized bud. I don't like doing that, especially when there's choice. So I'll take this one, but I probably won't take any more that size, they'll be smaller. Side buds, and I just tend to move them down, I don't pinch them out, just push them down, and they snap off quite cleanly, especially as we've had a lot of rain and the plants are nice and turgid. There's some shoots, but you've got to follow that all the way down the stem. I prepare, and we're doing it at an early stage so that they're not going to be that big, although some of the lower ones sometimes are more developed. That's those ones. Fun when you've got wasps in the plants, you just have to dance around them a little bit, but I haven't got stung doing it. I haven't seen much wasps. Sorry about the picture of the leaf. I'm just trying to do the job. Right, so that one's now taken, and if you look into the plant, you can see that stem has been cleaned of any other side shoot. So any energies of that stem are going into that bud. There's no other shoots on that stem. It's secured, there's no way back from it. I will then go through the entire lot of plants. And as I said, for me, probably digging in like that, that's the sort of bud I'm looking for. And I will count 90. 90 is what I need. I won't mess about with these ones, the ones that with the bigger buds, and hopefully I won't need to go diving into smaller shoots, digging them out, because it just tends to cause damage. So I look for 90 natural buds that are the right size. Once I get to that point, I will then go back through the plants, and ones like this, I'll do it now, and looking at the stage of these plants, and this bed is only ever intended to flower for the first really 2 takes. There's no point keeping that bud. I'll take it out. It's gone. These are buds, and they're pea-sized buds. We're looking for something in 5 to 10 days time. So they're gone. That part of the shoot now is of no value. So remove that. We've then got 2 shoots. Both have probably got tiny buds inside, and for me normally the left hand one is slightly advanced to the right, and I'm going to want a bud in about 5 days. So we've sort of taken it down a week because the bud is a bit more developed. It's probably only about 5 days. It's normally about 1 leaf joint per week of delay, as a rule of thumb. You're going to have to experiment with this, and I've continued down that stem, removing any other side shoots. That stem, in our terms, has been knocked back. We've knocked it back to a later shoot that will flower later, certainly, than the one we've taken over there. So that would be the next task. I'll also prioritise securing the buds that are of the right size on any stem that I've previously knocked back. That won't really happen on these plants because they're literally just producing the buds now. But on anything, particularly things like Marys where they might bud early, I would prioritise securing the buds on any stem that I've previously knocked back, because I don't generally like doing it more than once. Once on a strong stem, that's, you know, reasonable power there. It's clean, it's straight up, and while you're there, have a fish about. You might find the odd bonus shoot appearing, and I'll remove those. When we say we grow 7 up, it is 7 up. 7 flowering shoots to the plant. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. No others. Others will keep coming, and it's a hands and knees job for the next couple of 3 weeks, making sure that we maintain that. So I'm going to go through this plot. This will be the plot, but this bed. But that's the principle. Right size bud, right time of the year. It doesn't matter if you get buds before you want them. You can do this. You can knock them back. What you can't do is stick a bud on. If I was faced with that plot bed there today, and 80 buds, 90 buds, I'd be lucky if there's one. I'm sure there wouldn't even be one. I can't stick them on. There's no way forward. I've got 2 beds, so there's 52 plants that when I'm dying here, 26 in this bed, 26 in that bed. To save work, I only have got really between 12 and 16 hours in a week to spend growing dahlias. Of knocking back, because it would be a lot of knocking back over 52 plants at this stage. A week or so later than these, I cut those back. So don't normally do it that way, but I've tried to do it that way to give myself more time and grow the plants better. This rain's helped as well, but that's the main principles of timing. I'll go through this bed, we'll record the number, and then we'll see it from there. So hopefully that may clear up some things about timing. So I've gone down that row, I've secured 35 on that row, so now I know I've got 55 to secure on this row, but I have left the bigger buds. There are still the wing buds and side shoots in them, so if I don't get the numbers naturals out here, I'll go back through this row and knock those stems down to a bud rather than down to a shoot. You can see the brolly's still up. It's just a gap in the rain. It's actually stopped raining and I managed to get through this bed of plants, and I've got, as written down, 190. So now I'll just go through any ones that I've left behind, like this, too big, and even that. I will knock them back, and I've got a fair idea of the shoots that are still yet to come and their stage, so that'll be how I decide how hard to knock them back. The plants always look a little bit like the wind's gone through them when you've just budding, because you've pretty much moved about every leaf. They soon perk back up after a few hours. So that's the 90 on there. We've got the list, and the list says today, including poms, which I won't do today. I'll probably do those over the next 2 days because they don't take as long, and including the giants that I've already took, which was only about 45, I'll be looking for about 845 buds. So I'm just over 10% through, it says. So that's the day's work today now, going through the rest of them and seeing what I find. Hope this helps. I'll try and get it out today if I can, so it's relevant for the right time of the year. And it won't be included in my normal growing videos, because otherwise it makes them too long, as I found out. So good luck. Tuesday the 8th of August. Just every morning now I'm having to get up here before work. And it only takes a day to be a day behind, and I'm probably about a day behind. Ideally I want to be doing buds Monday, or have the second take done on Monday. As you can see, the first take was done, but just yesterday I had to prioritise some other bits, and I just knew I wasn't going to get the time in a day to get any, certainly couldn't get any time out of work, same as I can't today. Tomorrow I'm off, so really Monday's bud take pushes to Wednesday. And what I've done on some of these, although I have done it now, the buds that I would have took yesterday, which is in there, there's a bit of string around the stem. I've done that, one on each variety. Should be one behind me. So these would have been taken last Wednesday, down to that, and then in here, a tiny little bud. That's one that I secured yesterday and put a bit of string around, so just don't lose track of size, because quite often you can do that, do it Wednesday, and then you overtake the buds and you take tiny buds again, because that's what I normally take, and then you end up with a gap in the flush. I haven't taken any of this batch of Dahlias, although I did get 70 out of the first bed, so we had 90 Wednesday, 70 today. There's a few left in there to take, but not many, and I hope come Friday, which will probably end up being Saturday, which for me on the smalls, it's tiny buds up to sensible size buds are going to be around about national. I'll find the 90 that I need out of this bed. I think that the rest are going to follow on through to Harrogate, but there is some buds in there. I've left them. I'll probably knock them back to an appropriate size bud on the next take, just to make sure I get that sort of number that I'm looking for. After the national, I don't really care. You can see the buds on the giants are motoring along, and these have been taken nearly 10 days. They always scare you a bit, but they take a long while to develop from there. They are just button buds, just big button buds. I've done the gold crest or the oakwood. I haven't taken any out of this batch, which there should be a few, but I've hit my numbers on the first bed. So again, I'll knock back to buds later in the week to help get to make sure of the numbers. The same with the Casper. Not touched him yet, but I'll go through in one go. We are 27 days before the national. These are large, so there are plenty of buds there. In fact, every shoot should pretty much have a bud in it, and a reasonable size, so I won't mess about with those. I'll just secure every stem that's there. Not trying to spread them, but hopefully I might find 25 buds out of 10 plants. That'd be good. There's still buds in the giants. There's some there that I haven't even taken, which I will get in there, but nearly everything has either got buds in it, small buds, ones like that, which I would say that's going to be a little bit pre-Wisley. Something like that. It's probably a Wisley bud, and there's a few more to go in there. I don't rush, because once I know they're there, and it can cause more damage digging in to buds like that. It's still a decent sized bud, but it can cause more damage digging in to find them than you gain from getting them taken. It's probably my furthest forward bud. That's Louis. It's just got a bit of petal showing in it. That might be the shows. As you can see, there's every stage around it that hopefully won't. It's nice to see a flower early sometimes. And we just go through the miniatures. This is me getting nervous. So I secured a bud on. This is Mary's. Secured it early. Got a fair old stem on it. Just to gauge size, because hopefully by the time I see what sort of size that is, I'll know whether I need to go through my hands and knees, stripping out any extra shoots or leaving them. The plants are about minimum 14, mostly 16 plus up. That's what I got from the second stop. And again, there should be one here with a bit of string around it, which I can't see. Obviously, it'll be there somewhere. And that's retake tomorrow. Sorry if I'm swinging around a bit, but and the same. This is the Blight and Softer Gleams. That's not taken. And there's my bit of string. The 1, 2 take, and there's some like that were done Wednesday, and plenty more plants like this where the buds are just sitting in there, so they should be perfect for Friday onwards, and hopefully I'll maintain my numbers. Some here I've knocked back. So I do if I'm doing a late knockback, i.e. I'm just adjusting for shows, that'll have a tiny bud forming in it, but I have left one further down and then took the rest off, and it just gives you an option to go to one or the other, rather than over committing. Same with Scamsdale Jane. So we did these in 2 batches, this bit and the bed running back down. And looking at it, it's certainly doing a better job than what the second bed of Dianes that are doing. We've got quite a few buds and shoots that will have or have got tiny buds in, so I don't think I'm going to miss out there. It's just that the second plot of Dianes seem to take a check after the chop back, which is a little bit worrying that they end up being a gap between the 2 plots or 2 beds. We shall see. But 2 varieties down, off to work now, and have a good day at it tomorrow. At last, Wednesday the 9th, got a good full day at it today. I already started feeding. I've done the Oakwoods, Winholm, and started on the Giants, and just so I don't pull my back so much, I sort of intersperse. I'll do a variety of bud takes and then feed a variety. It just stops me being bent over for quite so long. Although the plants are now getting to the tops of their 4-foot canes mostly, and I don't have to bend over so far. I only saw this yesterday. The only difference is the sun's out. So as we said yesterday, Oakwood and Winholm done. Just got to start working through the rest. Thursday morning, good day yesterday securing buds, so I just come up this morning, got here about 5:30, and been tying up. So the Dahlias, these have had their second tie because they're a bit behind those. They've had their final tie because they're pretty much at the top of the canes. The buds are forming. Really had a good go through the giants yesterday and pretty much have secured in one way or another. I would say every shoot in this bed other than about 10. So that's about 230 stems secured to a bud. So that should get us through the show season. It's whether some of these buds make bank holiday weekend. If the bigger ones don't, then we've got the ones close behind, but hopefully they will. And then we're rolling into national buds from there on. Just started putting final ties on Jill, and I'll come up tomorrow and do that. I'll finish that and do the same for Mary's, which I'm really quite happy with as a set of plants, both of them. Still waiting on our sample flower, but we shall see what happens when it comes open, probably in about a week's time. Right, off to work. Friday the 11th. So if you're thinking of going to Midlands, you'll probably be cutting about now. It's 7:45 in the morning, just before I go to work. I want to try and keep these videos a bit shorter, although I'll have to stop rambling on. I just thought I'd run through now where we're at 2 weeks before first show, effectively 3.5 weeks before the national. We've got 2 takes taken, so around about 1,200 buds secured so far, and then this is the plot and where we're at. So it's going to be a bit sweaty as far as getting flowers out in time. This is oak called Goldcrest. I've got some bigger buds on the other batch, but we are looking at a button bud. And in theory, if it's a week from button to flicking and a week from flicking to flower, they're there or thereabouts, but it depends how big the button is, doesn't it? Same for the Dahlias. We've got button buds, which would have been the first take, and then the second take still sitting in there, would be that size. I was at 90 on the first take. I think it was 80 on the second take because I was just holding off a little bit because I shall go again on Sunday. And somewhere between that second take, i.e. this, and what I then take, which would be sitting in the foliage, will be the national flowers, or Wisley flowers. The second bed has been a bit of a nightmare. We've got some very hard looking plants in amongst it, which I think is just the result of all the rain that we've had and the plants being that bit smaller coming back from the second chop. There's only a week between this lot and that lot, but they're there. There's buds. I haven't secured those. I might go down to a wing bud and just sort of make sure I get these for the back end of the national take, and hopefully make sure I've got a vase. I only really need one vase, a small dex for Wisley. The giants are romping along. Obviously we've got Bryn, Aggie in this row, and this buds. I won't go up there, but effectively it's another bed of Aggie. If a bud like that is too far in advance, then we've got buds like this, but a lot of them are of that stage, certainly around about that. Louis slightly in front of that. This is a bed of Louis, and we've got buds from that, which are pretty big, good 3 inches across, and buds like that that are thinking about flicking. They'll always peel a few petals off, but it's at the point they start coming off the bud. I tend to think that's a week. And we're 2 weeks away, so something like that might beat Midlands or Essex. I don't think that will. I think that's probably spot on, and somewhere around those. That would be after. That could be a hide hall flower. But as you can see, if we go down the bed, I secured about 45 on the first take, which was the 28th of July, and these are those 45. You can see there. They're about. Only reason I grew Bryn really, other than because I like it. Some sixes that shows in the Midlands is one of them. Require 3 varieties. So a row of Bryn went in, and I tried to make sure I got those earlier. This is the second lot of Oakwood Goldcrest. Again, slightly in advance of the other, or a few buds. I've sort of done it that way on purpose, but they may make it. I'm still not 100% sure about the variety or the stock. Whether it's got the strength. These don't look like they're going to be the biggest. I've got them 7 up. And it looks like our friends the wasps had a go at that one. So that one will be 6 up. This is AC Casper. It's the biggest bud I've got. Sort of thinking I might have had a flower out for Essex maybe. Then I've got 3 that size, identical, and then the rest are there. I've taken most of these, and I've got from that to that, pretty much in all these plants. I think there's only about 8 or 9 breaks I haven't secured a bud in yet. Let's get up here. Now the miniatures have really done well grown wise. I haven't grown this one before. This is Rycroft Drill, and they've been very shy to throw buds, and straight stupidly. Not at the time, I didn't think it was stupid. I stopped half the bed, so it's most of this bed here, 1 week, and then done the other half the week later. This is a week later, and they're just about thinking about producing buds. There's another one there, but these are going to take me through to Christmas. Now, I've managed to get about 70 buds on each take out of these, but there's nearly there must be at least 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It's about 18 plus shoots on each. I literally just double stopped, took out a bit of fluff and let them grow. So that's going to see me through. With that in mind, I sort of went a bit heavier on the Marys, which is here. Again, we've got 36 this bed, and that's half. And I went a bit heavier, so I took 140 buds on the first take. That'll be these ones, and then about 110, 120 on the second take, which would be these ones, or thereabouts, ones like that. So they tend to range between, and then there should be another take in there, which are these. There's bud in there. I don't think I would have secured that yet, just about, and that would be the follow on, and pretty much will mop up most of the Marys, so they'll see me through to Wisley, and hopefully the Jill will carry me through from there on. Moving along, softer gleams. Wasn't always sure about this variety, never grown it again before. So they're starting to come up as the buds are setting and pushing up, and that would be the first take, and that's the second take. And I've had about, I think it was 70 on each take so far, and we've got these ones that are just in there ready to take, and some to follow along. So again, splitting the cut downs into 2 and doing it a week apart certainly has helped spread the flush. We've still got some that are just in there, and some that's one I've actually knocked back, yet to come. And it did alleviate a lot of knocking about, especially with the weather that we've had. think I'm just about going to get away with Skimmersdale Jane. I was worried about the second chop backs. Thought it was going to do a die-ins on me, but they seem to be coming through. And again, we've took the, I think it was 90 on the first take and 90 on the second. Again, first take would be that, and the second take would be that. And I haven't really got into this row and the bit down the end there, because they're there for the third and fourth takes to see me through, I hope. It's a bit of a strange grower. It always looks a little bit crinkly to me, but then it seems to sort itself out, and certainly strong enough. These are knockbacks, but quite a powerful stem to knock back into. Then we have the poms. I think I'll take the day off Monday, just to get through these. I've gone through them once, and you can see all these buds have all been side shooted. I've gone down about 3 pairs of leaves, and these bushes, quite a big bush, quite a big hedge, as you can see. And then I'm going to go through again, and ones like this will get spudded like that. Generally about 3 pairs. There isn't really any shoots further down. And buds like this, which I'm sort of hoping might make the bank holiday weekend. Get the calyxes off. I don't usually use my left hand, and I don't normally film when I'm doing it. So that's our naked bud. I always take that little leaf off if I see it, and that's ready to go. Hopefully it'll give us the right size flower. I've not grown poms with a 55mm ring. Me being me, I like to get them as close to the round thing as possible. So I've been quite heavy-handed on disbudding these, because when you get these tall plants, and for this is Gertler Twilight, and for Gertler Twilight they're quite tall. I planted them close together, about 16 inches apart, just to try and force a hedge and get some stems on them. That can be negative on size, so we need to go through those, and I'm hoping all these little buds here and those yet to take may well be national buds. So we've got about 26 Gertler Twilight, all about that sort of stage. You can see the foliage colour changes here, so that's all Gertler. And then these are Hallmark, and we're in the same position with those. Some with this bud, can't help myself while I'm standing there. And then plenty to calyx. And if you leave it to that stage, as the calyx is peeling off the bud, it's a bit easier just to nip around and take them off. You can use nail scissors if you like, but I tend to use my finger and thumb. And by the time I've gone through this lot, I probably would have carved a hole in my first finger or forefinger. So these are all to do, and hopefully the spudding of the secondary shoots just stops that secondary growth coming through the flowers and smothering them, and keeping the flowers above the foliage will really start, although I've not needed to yet because it's come out of the sky, but I will really start putting some water on these, which is really the main reason they're the first bed nearest the water tank, which is up there, that black thing up there. So here we are, that's done. Whether we get it right or not, the covers will go on next Wednesday, which will probably be the next time I film, which will be about 9 days before the first cut. It has to be a Wednesday because that's the time I've got to do it. Really happy with the plants generally. I think they're good sets. Certainly some of the best for the small stuff that I've had up here on these plots. But only time, about two weeks and a bit, will tell when the flowers come out.